Sports Blitz.
What
am I doing? So anyway, this is the Lake Martin Sports Roundup, and it's Tuesday. You know, Andy and I started off Sports Call like that. He said, welcome into the Thursday edition of Sports Call. We ain't gotten the day of the week right yet. But anyway, Randy, glad to have everybody here. It is packed here at JR Sports Bar and Grill tonight. We have the middle school wrestlers who just came off a great tournament up at Hoover. They were the only 6A team there and finished second. We're going to hear from a lot of those kids. Got the soccer team here from Benjamin Russell. It's always fun to sit up here and see a packed house. If you look to your right, it's packed up there. JR is the place to be most nights here in Alex City.
Well, let me say this. This 8th grade class, it's not only for the wrestlers that you see, because I'm able to pay attention to social media and see the parents that are out there, and also able to keep up with them as they're growing up, Brett. And one thing that you can say about this whole entire class, very talented, very talented class. We thought it about this senior class that's going through this past year.
We did.
When they were in the 8th grade, we said, well, we're going to have some good years, but this looks like it could be a special class. And when I look at this 8th grade class right now, with football, wrestling, baseball, all that they're able to do, basketball also. I only think they lost but a game or two in basketball. Just a very, very talented group, good kids, good parents, good everything going on there. And we got a lot to look forward to. And they've got a lot to be proud of what they've raised to this point. And got 4 more years left with it, Brett. But I've been watching this wrestling program, and off the hoof. You want to let a lot of them off the bus first. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, well, they'll feed right over into Benjamin Russell's program, and that's why it's so crucial to have a good youth program. Leads into the middle school program. You just keep this going, and that's the way most communities do it that are real successful. If you look up at the Thompsons and the Vestavias and those types of communities, that's how they do it, and we do the same thing here. That's why we're competitive, and we're always up there in the top. Randy, there's so much to talk about here. I'll step aside after this first segment when Scott gets here, but you know, I'll start with the local thing first here with our fishing tournament this past weekend. Really, it lasted all week. The estimated economic impact, I just want to throw this out there and let everybody know, the estimated economic impact of that tournament for 1 week in Alex City was $2 million. I mean, and I've had so many people come up, restaurant owners, businesses, gas stations, hotels, said, look, man, if we had weeks like this every week in Alex City, this place would explode. And, you know, nothing but compliments from all the kids. Man, they had people here 12 hours away, Randy. They drove a long way, and they were here a week. I mean, it just takes a lot to put on a tournament like that. Hank Weldon and his staff with Bassmaster said, you know, Alex City showed out again. This is 2 years in a row, Randy. That one, is twice now we've made a statement. That just means that they're going to continue to always come back to Alex City and host tournaments on Lake Martin.
A couple of weeks from now, Alabama Bass Trail will be here. The expectations, well over 200 boats for that also, Brett. So that's going to be a big event. The Alexander City Chamber of Commerce been highly active when it comes to working with that. So many others that enjoy fishing here on this lake. Working the contacts and the beauty of living in the state of Alabama is there's a lot of contacts in your backyard. And Hank Weldon's one of them. We can't thank him enough, and we want to make sure that we put on a good show when they're here. And everything that I've heard is there was a good show put on. It's a beautiful lake. It's one that people like to travel to. It's one that people not only here but all throughout the southeast and the country know about. And maybe it's not the fishing reservoir now currently that you get in Gunnersville, but it's getting close, Brett. When I look at those bags that they brought in, you know, it was the last couple of days, 18, 19-pound bags. What took it to win? Is that right?
Well, you know, Alabama vaulted themselves up to first place with a 19-pound sack on day 2, and they came back with a solid 11-pound sack, or 9.5, 10-pound sack on day 3. But the team that won it, Ottawamba Community College, if you're reading Outlook today, their story, it's a unique story. You need to read it. You can't have any worse luck than they had 3 days in a row and win a fishing tournament. They were able to come in and beat Alabama by 4 ounces. We had a great crowd out there Saturday afternoon for the weigh-in at Central Alabama Community College. Randy, it's something that we have. The reason, number one, the hospitality, that they look at that. They look at the crowd that it brings. But the thing they look at is facilities. Wind Creek State Park, it's a huge boat ramp there, multiple facilities, nice, easy parking, easy to get in and get out. That's one thing they look at. And the facility they come to for the pre-meeting, the pre-tournament meeting at CAC. He said, Tank said, look, man, he said, I've been all over the country, and he does. They're heading out to Nevada in a couple of weeks for the Western Regional. He said, we don't go anywhere, any place better than Central Alabama Community College's facility to have these meetings. I mean, that's something that they go back to. They want to go where it's logistically easy to put on a tournament, and we have the facilities here in Alexandria.
And I'll say this, I tip our hat to the leadership here in the community for getting behind it. It took money. It took money to go out there and bid on this.
Took money to make money.
Yeah, that's right.
And they did.
And they made it, but nonetheless, you got to get them on board. And here's the beauty. They're on board. I can't remember over the last couple of years that they've been gone to for projects like this that I haven't been directly involved with, but boards and people that I'm working with are involved with, mainly you being one of them, Brett. And they've said, no, it's not a good idea. They've been on board with it, and they deserve a clout. They deserve a tip of the hat for being on board with it and making sure that it's a good event, because we can only grow from here. As long as we continue to nourish these relationships that we've got, then I think we'll be able to continue to grow with it.
A lot of the city council was out there cooking for all these people that were there, 600 people in that multi-purpose room at Central Alabama Community College, and they cooked hamburgers for everybody. They were out there cooking and doing what they need to do. That was great. That just shows you that the cohesiveness of the community and doing what they need to do to bring it together, and just a wonderful sight. Randy, we'll move away from that. I'll talk about Terrell Owens, first ballot to get in the Hall of Fame, and the committee met for about 40 minutes just on Terrell Owens, and they decided, hey, no go this time. And maybe they're sending, I don't know. Andy and I talked about, I don't know what message they're trying to send to him. Maybe they didn't feel like he needed to get on first ballot, but I don't know how Marvin Harrison gets in and he doesn't. That doesn't make any sense.
Look, I'm going to sound, if you listen to Stephen A. speak today, then I'm going to sound like I'm stealing everything he said. But I would recommend, if you're a pro Terrell, go listen to what he said. And here's exactly what he says. It's a glamour show. Are we voting on these guys based off how much we like them? Or are we going to look at the stats and we're going to say this guy didn't deserve to be in? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
That is a complete and total joke that he didn't get in on this first ballot.
Yeah.
He's in the top 3 on basically every receiving category there ever has
been. Number 2 on receiving yards behind Jerry Rice.
3rd in touchdowns.
Yep.
I mean, come on. This is a joke that he didn't get in on first ballot. And look, Skip Bayless and the rest of them want to sit out there and make this a glamour show. It's not a glamour show. He hasn't been arrested. This is, it's Cam Newton all over again. Look, I didn't like the way.
Don't think that Cam Newton's not going to face the same. If he has the career that we think he's going to have, whenever he decides to retire 5 years from that, he's going to be on the ballot. Don't you think that the same thing's going to happen?
It's exactly what's going to happen, and it's happened too many times. And I think that it's a sad situation. Hopefully, they get it right next year.
I thought he was a shoe-in. I really did.
The stats don't lie.
How does Marvin Harrison get in and he doesn't? How do they justify that?
I don't know how they justify a lot of it, but if a top 3 statistical receiver of all time doesn't get in on the first ballot, who does? Who makes that sense? So it didn't make any sense to me, and I'm sad for Terrell, but it looked like he's handled it well. Hadn't been that big a deal to him. He's come out and said that, only one can judge him. And that's exactly right. And he was judged, and he was judged poorly here, in my opinion. And
he'll have another shot.
Hopefully they'll get it right. He's way too good not to get in.
He'll get in. He'll get in, but it's a shame that there's really nothing keeping him out now. No. I mean, and look, I hate to say this, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And when you have the opportunity to get in now, if there's really no reason, why not let him in?
Well, and let's bring up one here. It's prime time to do it. Kenny Stabler. What a joke. You're going to put him in? I hate to say
that's my point.
You're going to put Kenny Stabler in post-mortem.
Well,
Kenny Stabler, anybody that watched football or knows football in the 70s knows he was one of the top quarterbacks of an entire decade.
Yep.
Was the leader of a team that played, if not for championships, the entire decade, a majority of them. And right there in the conference finals, the rest of them. And Kenny Stabler gets in after it.
That's my point. I mean, you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, and if somebody is eligible now – well, I mean, I'm a firm believer that Pete Rose will eventually get in the Hall of Fame, but he's not going to get in until he passes away. I mean, I'm just saying, I've said it before, that they're sending a message to him while he's alive that he's not going to get in. But when he goes, I'm telling you, you can write it down, he'll get in when he passes away. And it's a shame.
Kevin Green, glad for him. very deserving, third all-time in sacks, 160 sacks.
To me, that's a
career.
long time overdue,
It
too.
was a long time overdue, but Terrell Owens, again, we'll finish out this segment saying that it will be made right next year.
It will.
Trust me. There's a lot of backlash. There's a few Skip Baylesses, but there's a whole lot more
And
that
Mike
go in
Martz,
what in the world.
Mike Martz, when did he come out and whine
He's
like
out
a
there
baby?
whining for Torrey Holt.
I mean,
Somebody like
Isaac
that.
Bruce.
Give me you've got to be kidding me.
All right.
Come on.
It's not even close. But anyway, just getting started here on the Lake Martin Sports Roundup. I did get that right this time. It isn't Saturday yet. But, Randy, I'll step aside. Scott Hardy's going to come up here. You guys have a great show in line. The middle school wrestlers had a great season. They'll be here. The Benjamin Russell soccer team will be here. There's a lot going on here at JR Sports Bar and Grill. You need to come out to JR's, make it part of your Tuesday evening. Stay tuned. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup presented by JR's right after this.
Welcome back in, and thanks for joining the Late Morning Sports Roundup show, live on location in beautiful downtown Alexander City at JR Sports Bar and Grill. 256-329-2328 is the number for them. You can dial in and get some of their great food delivered to you, or you can come in and eat off of their great menu. Again, JR Sports Bar and Grill, 256-329-2328. But right now, we want to shift things over to the wrestling mat a little bit and introduce the middle school wrestling team, coached by Coach Matt Brazier, as well as Roderick Spradley. So, guys, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. So let's go back pre-state tournament and everything that went on with that. Can we get a little insight as to what occurred during the prep work for all of the season? Like what, I guess, can we get a review of the season and then before we start talking about the state championship?
A review of the season. When these kids walked in, I'm like, oh my God, what do we have here? But the first year guys, but one thing I can say about these guys, man, Coach Brazier, we watched them grow from here to here with first thing out of me and Coach Miles was discipline. First thing, if you want to be a champion, you have to be disciplined in every aspect of the game. That was for them is watching your weight, staying.
No, you good. I just put it a little bit easier for him.
Staying close to weight and, and they bought into the system that we had instilled about just doing basic things. And we was at one of the tournaments. Me and Coach was in the hospitality room, and just so happened that Johnny Nolan was there with us. And everybody knows Johnny. And the coach says, man, you can tell your kids work out in the weight room. They were like, why you say that? Those boys are strong. And that goes back to Coach Lux and what the middle school does for its weight room preparation. Because I'm going to tell you, these kids were some of the strongest kids out there. And I used to tell them all the time, you're not going to win with strength all the time. And they proved me wrong.
I got you. Well, Coach Brazier, for those who may not be familiar with you, what was your affiliation prior to coming into Alex City? Because until recently, I didn't really know the name, but now I'm glad to have you part of the community. Give a little background about yourself.
Let's see. If I said my hometown, you probably wouldn't know where it is. I guess I'm from the Armpit, Alabama, up in northwest Alabama. And let's see. I started out at a school in Huntsville, a 7A school, a feeder school to Sparkman High School, and coached baseball and football there. And from there, I had an opportunity to coach at a 5A school. Helena is in between Pelham and Alabaster. And from there, I'm here. So
I got you. Yeah. So was this your first stint as a wrestling coach?
It was.
What was that experience like for you?
Well, I'm going to tell you what. Coming in, I'm glad I had Coach Spradley there because the first 2 weeks was a lot of sitting back and, all right, what am I going to learn right here? And I was kind of the dude in the back kind of taking notes. And by the middle of the season, it starts to – As you watch it, I mean, I had a brother growing up, so I mean, we wrestled a lot, but I didn't really ever know any moves and stuff like that. But you get down to it, it's physics, And we talk about discipline all the time, and we had who was it? Had Chief come in.
Yeah, Chief.
What was it? Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday. Come in and talk to the guys before we went to state.
And just kind of echoed what we've been preaching all year. Yeah. So I think we peaked at the right time. We probably had our best practices. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
The last week.
Yeah.
We're here again with Matt Brazier and Roderick Spradley here, members of the Alexander City Middle School wrestling team, and Coach again coming in with prior experience or with limited experience on the wrestling side. What was the biggest adjustment, and then what surprised you from your expectation level coming in that you didn't really realize about the sport? Hope that wasn't one of those blindside questions that you were referring to off the break.
I'm probably going to need one question at a time. That was like 3 in a row. So what was the first one?
I forgot kind of where I was going. We had so many questions. No, but, having limited experience, what was your biggest adjustment coming in as the coach?
The biggest adjustment, I guess, was technique. Pretty much, or perhaps not technique, but I don't know. I mean, there's only so many, I guess, fundamentals perhaps coming in. That's all you can teach at a middle school level. I mean, you talk to the upper level coaches, and that's what you're trying to build from a middle school standpoint is something that they can build on to take them through high school. And I think that they've showed that they're going to be a force to be reckoned with if they stay the course and they stay together and they keep that brotherhood that they developed at the end of the season. And it's going to be a special group of guys. So it's going to be something that I know Coach Bradley talked about the culture and the the old teams, the old wrestling teams, and how it was built here in the community. I think they're going to bring it back. So
I got you. So that'll be a good segue. I was joking with Roger before, Coach Spradley, about, was he a wrestler prior to? I knew he was a big-time wrestler before, and he said, he was on the state runner-up team. So comparatively from where we were as a program 25 years ago to where we are now, what steps are needed to be taken, or what steps have been taken to ensure that we get back to that?
I believe, to be honest with you, it starts with the youth program that feeds over into the middle school. And the biggest part is the youth. When they come over to the middle school, that they have the basics. So, you really don't have to sit there just teaching basics. But we're going to continue to teach basics at the middle school. But like I said, that's the biggest thing I've seen with these group of guys right here, and some of the guys that's up there on the high school now. The run Benjamin Russell made with those 10 consecutive states, I can see at least 5 coming back here to Alexander City, Alabama.
Well, obviously, both of you guys are big football guys, and this community, while it was very rich in the wrestling spirit for a while, it's getting back to that way, but both are football guys. How does wrestling equate to how does being a wrestler equate to being good in other sports? Or how does that prep you for being in other sports? I know a lot of times you look at some of the guys that we've had, somebody like a Daniel Bland, who is going for his 3rd straight championship or state championship, but he was a football player as well. How do the two correlate?
Well, I'm going to tell you something. As far as football, it helps you with your footwork, speed, and everything. And just this year alone, we had 3 tailbacks from the middle school to Rouse, and that is rare. And all 3 of them were good. And just watching them Rouse, I wouldn't want to try to tackle now one of them. That's just me. I would.
I got you. Well, obviously, state championship just took place, and that is why you guys are here. We do want to highlight that. So where was it, and can you give us a little review and recap of how our wrestlers did?
Okay. It was up in Hoover, Alabama, and what it was the 7A state championship for the middle school. And Coach Gadosh up in Hoover, me and him wrestled against each other. He was Vestavia, I was Ben Russell. We used to go head and head, and we always joke about when we're going to break the tiebreaker. And he said, hey, man, how about bringing your guys to the state up here? It's going to be 7A schools. And I talked to Coach Brace, talking over, and he was like, man, let's go. And we went up there, 11 teams, 7A schools. We were on the 6A school there. And I can say out of 14 weight classes, we bring home 5 state championships. Out of 14, we bring 5 home, 2 runner-up, 2 third place, and a 4th place. With all the points totaled up, state runner-up.
Man, again, here with the Alexander City Middle School wrestling team, coaches Matt Brazier and Roger Spradley. So for those who aren't familiar with what a feat that is that you guys were able to accomplish, kind of break that down a little bit, how impressive that was with such a limited amount of kids, plus going up against a higher classification.
Well, the way that works is with the kids we have, our kids was getting pins. They was giving us big points. We wasn't getting 3 points. We was getting pins, and it wasn't no second or third period. They was going out there, bam. That Friday, they took in what we said. Coach Brazier told them, go home, think about the match, think about what you're going to do in this situation. And when I tell you, normally when we tell them be there at 4:45, they, oh, coach. When we said be there at 4:45, most of those kids were there at 4:25, ready to go.
Absolutely. Well, what we're about to do right now is go ahead and take another break, and when we return, we'll give you guys another opportunity, or give you guys an opportunity to highlight your kids and let them know what their names and weight classes are. Again, tremendous past couple of days for you guys in the program, so tremendously proud of you. But what we'll do again is go ahead and take another break. Live here in location at JR Sports Bar and Grill. More late morning sports roundup show right after this.
Wow, that is hey.
Welcome back, folks, and thanks for joining the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show. Having a great evening here at JR's. It's a little chilly outside, but everyone seems to be very festive here. Again, come out and support JR's, one of our corporate sponsors, and we couldn't do it without them. So, again, 256-329-2328 is the number for them. Dial in and get some of their great food delivered to you, or you can come in and get some of their food off of this tremendous menu. But, again, we just spent the last segment speaking with Matt Brazier and Roger Spradley, who are the wrestling coaches for the ACMS wrestling team, and we couldn't be more excited about what they were able to do this past weekend. And so what we'll do is give them an opportunity now to highlight some of the guys who are part of the wrestling team, including our 5 state champions. So, Roger, if you don't mind giving them a chance to introduce them.
Okay. State champ, 147. Dwight Abercrombie.
State champ 167, Zay Harmon.
State champ 114, Kadarius Marbury.
Heavyweight state champ Curtis Norris.
And my man back here.
State champ Kyle Maddox, 77.
All right. Well, Kyle, we'll start with you. So, what was it like to be a state champion? Obviously, you guys are going against 7 in competition, so that's got to be fantastic as well. But what was it like to be a state champion?
Feels great.
Feels great. Well, we can go along and get these guys the same questions.
It really feel good for the first time. First year ever wrestling, winning state champ. Can't no words really explain it. It's just a feeling.
It feel good to me because, like, I wrestled in City League, now I'm wrestling again, came back and came in first place. That's a good thing for me to start back wrestling.
It felt it felt awesome to win state.
It feels good to be a state champ. That's it.
And you talk all the time in practice, and you can't talk today.
Okay. It feels good to be a state champ because this is my second year, and last year we didn't go to state, so I'm thankful this year.
Well, Kyle, we'll throw it back to you. Obviously, Coach Brazier and Coach Spradley are influential in getting you guys prepared there. What was your favorite part about being coached by them?
I guess the teamwork and great coaches we have.
I got you. What was the best part of the season? Outside of winning state, give me something besides winning state.
Going almost undefeated. I had one loss the whole season. I was 22-1 for the whole season. That's pretty good.
All right, we've got a champ on the rise here. And if you guys kind of get your favorite thing about wrestling, and then what was your favorite thing about the season?
My favorite thing about wrestling was being able to use my strength against others without getting in trouble.
Self-aware, man. Can't be mad at that.
It helped me my footwork for football, helped me out with running back and stuff.
It helped me. I don't know what to say.
The funnest part about wrestling was how we was working in the wrestling room when we had practice, and all the stuff we did, like cradles and stuff, and all the stuff Coach Spradley and Coach Brazier was helping us do.
All right, so those are 5 of your members of the Alexander City Middle School Wrestling Team. Also, all 5 did win state championships. So congratulations to you guys, and I look forward to seeing how not only you but the program progresses as well. Definitely set a great foundation for everything going forward. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and take another break, and when we return, we'll have some more members of the wrestling team up here and have an opportunity for them to introduce themselves. Again, we're live here at JR's. More of the Lake Martin Sports Roundup show coming to you right after this. Welcome back in, and thanks for joining the Sports Blitz late morning sports roundup show. Again, we're live here on location, JR Sports Bar and Grill, and it has been a wonderful evening. We had the opportunity to highlight some of our state champions from the Alexander City Middle School team, as well as catch up with Coach Matt Brazier and Coach Roger Spradley about the season as a whole and how the progression of the program has occurred. But right now, again, we want to give the rest of the team an opportunity to introduce themselves and what they were able to accomplish during the state weekend as well. So, Coach Spradley, take it away.
Let's go, sir. Your name. Turn to the name, sir.
Keaton Young.
What place did you place in state?
Second.
How many years have you been wrestling?
1.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
You gonna wrestle next year?
I guess so.
This is Keaton Young, runner-up state this year. Good job, man. Who we have next?
Yeah, we'll just shift them down.
Your name, sir?
Nashad Henry.
How long have you been wrestling?
1 year.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
Who's your favorite coach? Me and Coach Brazier.
Coach Bradley.
Name, sir?
Bobby Charchet.
What you place in state?
3rd.
How many years you been wrestling?
3.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
How much weight you got to gain to wrestle 106 for high school?
About 15 pounds.
15 pounds.
You better get busy, man. Peanut butter sandwich.
He's in the right place to get that food up, that weight on him, though.
Name, sir?
Marcus Freeman.
What weight class you wrestle?
Sometimes 85, sometimes 95, sometimes 103.
And, you know, it's one thing I can say about this kid right here. Whatever weight class we needed him in, I don't care if we asked him to wrestle heavyweight. He was going to go out there and give it his all.
That's
You
true.
going to wrestle next year, Marcus?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir.
Marcus is one of our leaders in practice, too. Always holding everybody accountable.
That's all
Name, sir?
Marco Lopez.
Did you like wrestling, Marco?
Yes, sir.
You going to do it again next year?
I'll try.
You know what? The proudest moment of being a coach is watching you win your first match. I still see it in my head every day.
Thank
You
you.
done a good job, man. Uh-oh, here go my other one. Your name, sir?
Jay Davis.
You like wrestling?
Yes, sir.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
How did you feel when you won your first match?
Felt great.
And what I kept telling you was this close, this close. Just keep on, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, keep up the good work, man. Here goes another one. This kid right here, words can't say the feeling I had when this kid won his first match. It brought tears to my eyes. He just coached. I said, just be patient. It's coming. And when it came, me and Coach looked at each other, and Gregory, say your name for us, sir.
Gregory Newman.
What you place in state?
4th.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite move? I already know.
Cradle.
All right. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Demetri Johnson.
What you place in state?
3rd.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
You gonna play football?
Yes, sir.
All right. We'll see you next year. What's up, man? How you been doing? Pretty good. All right, what's your name, sir?
My name is Damian Lyon.
What you place in state?
2nd.
You gonna wrestle next year?
Yes, sir.
You still gonna wrestle 220 at the high school, you say? Thank you, man. All right. Thank you, sir.
Again, and those are some more members of your Alexander City Middle School wrestling team. And again, just talk about I hate saying talk about, so we're not going to say that. But can you explain to people just how important this was and for the foundation of the program? I'm reading some of the numbers here. First off, you were only 6A program at the 7A tournament, and as far as the coach's knowledge, that is the finish. That's our first time finishing as run-up as a program on the middle school level.
All I can say is the coaches told us before we left and got on the bus, I hated for 6A in a couple of years. I mean, Benjamin Russell Wrestling has been known about having that dominant heavyweight. We have it now with Daniel Bland. And like with this middle school team, we had 3 heavyweights that placed 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. So we're going to have heavyweights for some years to come, and we're going to dominate that heavyweight division like we have done in the past. But for these kids to go up there to a 7A tournament, which we weren't invited to, but, you know, things happen. Good things happen. And to see that okay, these are 7A schools. Just because they got more people in their school than we probably do in our whole community doesn't mean that we cannot compete with these guys. And that's what I tell these guys all the time. I get so sick and tired of people saying, well, we can't compete with a Hoover because Hoover has too many athletes. It's all about your heart. All these kids, they have great big hearts. And one thing I love about them, they have that Wildcat pride that I am very big on.
That's tremendous. And again, you have 10 people placed, 5 who were state champions. So I mean, that's impressive as a whole. So can you compare it to maybe some of the other schools and what they were able to do? Or do you guys know how it shaked out in some other classes or some other teams?
I didn't hear you.
No, Roger, I was asking, can you compare the success level that the middle school team had at this previous tournament to some other teams, because it was 7A, so comparatively to some bigger schools like a Hoover, how did we fare against them?
With this team right here, with this middle school team, looking at other middle school teams, I would say for as on the 6A level, we will be the Thompson of wrestling right now.
Okay, that's where I was getting at.
And
okay.
that's some big shoes to fill when you mention Thompson.
I got you. Oh, for sure. Well, Coach Brazier, before we let you go, real quickly, give me a 30-second elevator speech as if somebody was interested in getting out and participating in wrestling, or Coach Bradley, whoever would like to answer, to give me a 30-second elevator speech as to why wrestling is a sport that people should be more involved in.
I'll tell you what, I'll do 15 seconds and you do the other half. I just want to make a mention that, we had 5 state championships, and these kids go at it every day and they grind, and it's refreshing to know that we're going up against the best every day in practice. And bring your hard hat, bring your lunch, whatever. I mean, these kids, they do what they're supposed to do, and it paid off in the long run. So,
again, Coach Bradley.
Thing about wrestling, I say that help young kids out is it's you and another man. One-on-one is who wants it, who's gonna go and do that extra work. And I tell the kids all the time, you don't win championships in practice. It's when you get home, the extra running you do, the extra push-ups. I mean, just any little thing you can do to make you faster, quicker than your opponent. And I mean, wrestling, I mean, it's a sport that you will love. And like I said, we have all these first-year guys and come off win state. So you can't say, well, I never wrestled before, I can't do it. I mean, this proof right here.
Absolutely. So, again, this team, Alexander City Middle School Wrestling Team, finishes 2nd overall at state, including 10 individuals who placed 5 state champions. So congratulations again to the coaching staff and the team and the school as a whole, and we hope to see you guys continue to progress. Again, that was your Alexander Middle School team, wrestling team, state champions. We'll do is go ahead and take another break, and when we return, Randy and I will wrap things up here. We have a couple more breaks, but we'll try to take it a little longer in this next segment. So, again, more of the Late Morning Sports Roundup show right after this.
Welcome back into the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup. I'm Randy Lee alongside Scott Hardy, and excited to have the wrestling team up here, Scott, and great job that you did catching up with the coaches and the players and 5 state champions, and that's saying a mouthful for what's going on there. And the high school program will have their sectionals coming up this weekend, and I know that there's several of those kids that haven't quite got over the hump yet that have had tremendous seasons. T. Coley's one that's coming to mind that we'll be cheering for. We hope for Daniel Bland that he's able to bring in his 3rd consecutive state championship, and he'll move on. He'll wrestle in college, and I'm sure T will have an opportunity also. But I don't want to leave any kids out, but it's a great, great sport. I never did it. My father did it. Stepdad did it. I mean, when you grew up back in the 70s and we won 11 state championships in a row, 14 total, still hold the state record for wrestling state championships here in Alexander City. You did that. That was the biggest sport. Football was big, but wrestling was where, like with Benjamin Russell and Coosa the other night, that was the one where they were sitting outside trying to get into the gym. Coach Lee did a tremendous job of bringing that program up. We were one of the top ones. We were one of the first ones, and we had plenty of athletes to go along with it back in the day. And the more I'm around it and the more that I witness it, it's a tough sport, Scott. And you know, it's good for you. It's good for you to be thrown on your back every once in a while, I think.
Well, see, the thing is, when like Josh Bierman, who was in my class, he was a state champion, and most of the people that I've seen follow it or as a team, like those people did pretty well, so I couldn't really equate to it being like a tough sport. Now, you see guys who struggle a little bit, but people like Daniel, and we had Cassius, and you mentioned people like T, so like when I've seen those guys wrestle, like, you know, they make it look pretty easy, but I think that that's more of a indictment on the quality of coaching and foundation that has been placed not only at the youth level but all the way up to the high school.
No, let me give you that's against 95%. But there's a wrestler or two in every class when I used to go watch, and Roderick was one with Gadosh, and Jason Wilson, who won I don't know how many state champions, a whole bunch of them in Roderick's class. He always had a guy, and there was a guy that was probably usually back in those days from Vestavia or Hoover or one of those big programs.
Was our guy.
And that you're going to compete with him, and you're probably going to compete with him from the time you're in the youth all the way up, or at least from the middle school all the way up. And that you become buddies. And if anything, sometimes you become rivals. You don't like each other. A lot of times you do. It's a great sport. We're unable to do it, but I would really push anybody out there that has kind of a hard-headed kid that's kind of into that thing. I heard one of the kids say that, you know, take out aggression out there. You hear a lot of people with football say the same thing, and I don't think that's a problem at all because some great, great kids that we've been producing playing both of these sports, Scott.
Yeah, and I think that what he said too was great, because if you're able to channel that energy into something positive, then why not be a part of it? But I'm with what Roger was saying about the foundation that not only at the youth level, but what they're doing at the middle school. You have a lot of one-year wrestlers who are state champions. So immediately, that immediate success, one, is going to garner more attention to the sport, and they'll want to continue to get better. But that's only going to help the wrestling team on the varsity level. So as you said, they'll take place with sectionals this week, and hopefully they'll be able to represent us and have some guys go to state.
Area tournament for basketball. What's the update there?
Russell County will be the team that hosts, and Benjamin Russell finished 3rd in the area, so they will take on Opelika. They will need to win that game, obviously, in order to move on. So the top 2 teams in the area go ahead, and they will represent us in Montgomery. So you're hoping that they'll have an opportunity to have a tough loss against Central Coosa on Friday. I'm not sure what the update was. They played Central Clay in Clay County yesterday. So I'll hopefully try to get an update for that. But our goal is to have Coach Hines on this Saturday and have him kind of give a review of the area tournament and what hopefully other postseason plans we can have.
Soccer starts tonight, doesn't it?
Soccer start. I'll be moving on over there in a little bit. They take on the girls are playing Northview, and it's either the girls are Northridge and the boys are Northview, or vice versa. So
you're talking about a very, very tough match to start the season off for both.
Yeah, and that's something I know, at least on the male side, that on the boys side, Coach Steele has talked about, is wanting to make sure that they schedule it as many difficult games as possible early on in the season, go to as many tournaments as possible to ensure that they'll be ready for when they come back again for another run at a Final Four. And I'm telling you now that this team will be right back there again in Huntsville next year.
Yeah, they will. We were able to go up there and call that match this past year, and it got out of hand a little bit there in the second half, but Northview had a player that really was just in the zone that day. I mean, he was doing things with the ball that special players do, and he had that type of day. They move on, they lose to Fort Payne. They have more chances in the championship game. I'm talking about Northview than Fort Payne. So it's a very, very good high school soccer program that we have, and hopefully we'll be able to get back with a senior-laden class, a very, very strong class with Grant Hudson leading scoring. Cole Grogan's an all-state performer for at least last year, I know, if not for the last couple of years.
They lost 2 players, Randy. They lose Sam and Scott, and outside of that, I mean, now those are 2 main contributors. Both of them defenders, but one being your goalie. But there'll be a little transition with Benjamin Hendricks out. He's going for the season. But I think this team up top will be able to score as many goals as you want them to.
Yeah, and so we'll look forward to that, and we'll continue to pass along. Again, give us updates out there. Let us know if you have kids that are participating. They've got tournaments coming up. We want to talk to them. Can't thank the Parks and Rec enough for all that they do for keeping us updated there. Baseball and softball starting as well. I expect a very, very good baseball play here in this region this year. Strong senior class. I keep going back to it, much like I said with this wrestling class right here. When you get a good athletic class, it happens sometimes when you're in a community the size of ours. And this senior class is special all the way up and down. And I'm expecting some very big things on the baseball diamond. Richie Brooks in his 24th year. My freshman year was his first year here. So I can add, I think, 23 or 24. Sorry, Coach. Nobody gets coached up better than we do with Coach Brooks and Coach Graveman. I'm 100% solid on that. We've got some talent to work with also, and as long as the bats, which I think has been somewhat of a struggle over the last while, if the bats can heat up, I really do think we've got several pitchers that are some of the top here in the state of Alabama.
Yeah, you've got Sean Rape and Corley. Timmy Lawson will be somebody who'll be pitching as well. So they're anticipating having as many arms as they've had in a long time, just hoping that, again, that the bats transition into some power. But I know that they did have a little mini scrimmage this past Saturday in Oxford. They took on Oxford. They played really well. There wasn't really a score, but from all indications, the bats were as cold as it was, they were able to heat up a little bit there. So hopefully that transitions into the regular season as well. But I'm really excited about this baseball program.
And Jessica Johnson as well on the softball side. I expect this program to get back to where it was for many decades. Pam Robinson had a winner each and every year, and we went through a little dry spell, and wasn't anything to do, I don't think, with coaching over there. I think it was to do with a lack of getting kids out maybe in the youth leagues and leading in, but now it looks like things are heating back up there, and Jessica loves it. She gets it, and somebody that's motivated. It's kind of like Bruce Pearl if you're looking at basketball. You may go through a little dwell, but this guy's working his umph off to get it back, and that's all you can ask for, Scott.
That, and there's one major motivational factor there. Is her sister is a coach at Davil, so please know that they're trying to outdo each other there. So I think that will drive the competition up a little bit, even more. So again, make sure you come out and support the spring sports. Basketball getting ready to come to a close, wrestling as well. So as we get ready for baseball, softball, and soccer, hope everybody can get out. And again, registration for baseball was this past weekend. There probably is going to be another one coming up as well. So we'll get the details out for that. But again, we're just really excited about this transition into spring sports, and hopefully we'll have some good products on
and we'll be talking a lot more about all the other local area teams, a lot more about Benjamin Russell tonight, but we'll talk a lot. A good friend of mine, Randy Nolan, does it about as good as anybody over in Davil, and he's got, if not the top prospect here in the state of Alabama, one of them in Cal Jones, so he's going to be fun to watch and see what kind of stats he throws up there this year. If they're better than last year, mind-numbing. And so Davil's got a good ball club, and I'm really excited about Horseshoe Bend also. They've been able to make it into the playoffs year in and year out. Reeltown, I think, is their nemesis. Reeltown's another one that we'll cover. And we didn't even get to Reeltown hiring a new head football coach. We'll catch up, hopefully, with him here in the next couple of weeks. And congratulations to that community. What a winner that they have over there. And congratulations to Coach O'Neill and his retirement, a Hall of Fame. A Hall of Famer real quickly out there. I mentioned it a couple of weeks ago and mentioned it one more quick time here in the next month, I believe, or so. We've got 2 Benjamin Russell High School graduates, one that was a great coach and athletic director that will be inducted into the Hall of Fame here in the next month or so. Coach Dwight Busby, who was a great player here at Benjamin Russell and moved on, a great wrestler also, was a 3-time state champion coach here at Benjamin Russell. He's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, and Ike Grant. Corey Grant's dad was also a great football player here at Benjamin Russell. Both of those guys on the same high school team, and Ike Grant will be inducted into the Alabama High School Hall of Fame. Congratulations to both of them Benjamin Russell High School graduates. So we're up against the end of the program. I want to thank all of you for tuning in out there. Come on out to JR Sports Bar and Grill. Have a great dinner. Bring your kids out in uniform. They'll eat off the kids' menu for $3.99. Call them for catering or delivery services also, 256-329-2328. For Scott Hardy, I'm Randy Lee saying thanks for tuning into the Sports Blitz Lake Martin Sports Roundup.